Hey guys, it's Hallie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing kind of a update story time thing, I guess. But before I get into that, make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel so you can see more of similar content. Anyways, also another thing is that if you don't know what's going on, if you're new to my channel, if you didn't come from either my Helping Hallie Facebook page, Helping Hallie Instagram page, or helpinghallie.com. Yeah, so basically I was born with a lot of health problems. That's basically the subtext of this entire YouTube channel, honestly. But if you guys want to go check out some interesting facts about me, go to either my helpinghallie.com, I will link that in the description, my Helping Hallie Facebook page, and my Helping Hallie Instagram page, and yeah, you can see pretty much my entire story from either of those three platforms. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So basically, if you guys, I wasn't on YouTube when this happened, but I was born with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia. Definition. Basically, it's caused my heart a lot of problems, and I've been doing home IV fluids since I was born. I pretty much never lived my life without a port or some sort of way to give me nutrition and IV fluids to keep my body alive until about a few years ago, or a year ago I should say, in fall. So starting around spring breakish, we had a family friend over, we did family dinner, and my aunt found this new supplement that replaced a lot of my IV fluids. So I was getting better, and I had a port, so basically like a permanent IV, I guess. And that's how I like to describe it, and it's in your chest and whatever. Anyways, so I got my port taken out because that was the main reason we had it, was to do IV fluids. And yeah, another thing you should also know, I have a lot of health problems referring to my stomach or my gut. That is a very big portion of my health problems. I have had a lot of surgeries regarding my stomach, and yeah. Now, if you guys don't know, the beginning of this year, I was going through a lot of GI issues that turned into POTS issues, and if you guys didn't watch any updates or whatever, these are my videos that I've done on those, I guess. But yeah, so basically this year I had a lot of GI tract issues that GI department was not willing to help me with. Ended up causing me a bowel obstruction, having to go to IV nutrition again because it made me lose 15 pounds. And all of that with IV fluids overstocking me ended up me going through IV fluid withdrawals, basically where my body needs IV fluid so bad that IV supplements won't work. So we got me up to speed and up to the normal, I should say, around July, August, and I was doing great until we had to do motility testing. Now, motility testing, because I had immotility in my stomach, basically just meant that we had to do some sort of test to see what type of immotility I had to have, or I have, to see how it triggers certain spots of my stomach. And I was already dreading this. We had given me options that were non-invasive, and the insurance would not approve pretty much any of them because they wouldn't work in their minds. Now, I had already told my mom when we were given these options that, the more invasive one was going to cause me way more PTSD and I was going to struggle a lot. And she was like, I know, but it's for the best. So I went forward with it come late September, and that was a nightmare. So starting off, the first day I got there, we had to do an NG to clear my stomach out entirely. I was on Go Lightly. I had to sit in a chair with my IV pole, the NG tube down, this cold medicine just going down my stomach to clear my stomach out. Not fun. And basically, the tube hurt my throat so much that I couldn't take any medications, and it caused me withdrawals the entire time. Not to mention that even if I didn't have the tubes in my throat, I would still not be able to have 90% of my medications because apparently they affect my gut in a weird way. That's That's what my doctor says. Now, the first night was torture because I had yelled at the night nurse because she was being very rude, and I was just hungry and I did not feel well at all. So it was clean me out and let me be on a liquid clear diet. But that did not go over so well, and I ended up cursing and yelling at my night nurse because she was really rude and her bedside manner was not great. She treated me horribly. I'm over it, but whatever. The next day I got my NG tube pulled because it was cleared to be cleared out and like get it out. But what I did not know is that they were going to put a catheter down my nose, which was a camera catheter down my nose into my intestines to see stuff. And then they had a catheter going up into my colon. Now, I was fine with the colon one because usually I don't feel those tubes there. It's the nose ones that bothered me. I was not told that I was going to have a nose catheter until about the day of. Now, the sedatives they gave me to sedate me before I did anesthesia so I wouldn't have an anxiety attack actually were targeting a reaction to some sort of thing in the hospital on my body, whatever was happening to my body from something in the hospital that I didn't even know was happening. So it didn't sedate me as well as it should have. And it took me about 2 hours to get back to the operation room. So therefore they gave me for set after, but it was fine. And then I woke up. Mind you, this tube was not just like a tiny itty bitty like tube that went down your nose. It was a tube that was about the size of a penny, and if you know, probably about a dime because those are smaller. It was about the size of a dime. And that went up my nose and down my throat. Now, if you don't know, I have a tube-based fundoplication, basically making it so I can't throw up or burp, and my throat is wrapped tight so I can like breathe and eat and stuff, but I can't throw up or burp because I have reflex issues also. Now, this tube catheter camera basically had it opened up that tube-based fundoplication so much that as soon as I came out of that OR, I started puking up blood, whether I was conscious enough to realize it or not. And when I finally kind of woke up was around like 8 o'clock that night, and I was just throwing up all night. And it finally got to the point where like you couldn't sit up because they would move the catheters. So I ended up laying in my own puke for like hours on end all night, and ended up having to just like lean over the side. Like I gave myself up a little bit, like where it wouldn't move the catheters, but I have to toss myself over the side to throw up onto the floor because I just was not sitting in my own puke. That is not happening because it's extremely impossible to aim into that little blue basket thing to throw up in when you basically cannot sit up. So I wasn't going to sit in my own puke anymore. And that entire night was the last night I spent there, but in the morning I had to do testing. Now, mind you, this throwing up, they wouldn't even let me have any anti-nausea meds, not even an anti-nausea patch, which shouldn't affect you that much other than stop you from throwing up so I could keep down food. They gave me another thing of Toradol or ibuprofen or whatever, and then basically they told me that even though the patch would have not disrupted it as much, it still would have taken 2 to 3 days. Now, mind you, I've been taking this patch. I've been using this patch since I was like 10 because I've had nausea problems. And it says it lasts 2 to 3 days. It does not take 2 to 3 days to kick in. The night nurse was overall pretty good. Yeah. Now, come in the morning. The day nurse was super sweet, super nice, but we were supposed to start this testing. Basically, the entire test takes itself 6 hours. We were supposed to start this testing at 8 a.m. They did not get there until like 9 a.m. and they didn't start it until like 9 a.m. So we were already an hour behind schedule. I was sitting in my own puke. I couldn't sit up. I was throwing up. They ended up having to pull the catheter out of my nose because when it was time for me to eat for the portion of the test, I wouldn't eat because I was throwing up so much, and that tube just hurt with things going down my throat. And basically, we ended up having to get it pulled, and we ended up having a really rude and horrible bedside manner, like study nurse who was certified to run the test. Now, this test did not go easy. It was not well. My mom promised we will never do it again because, thank heavens, when it did finish, I ended up getting showered because I was laying my puke and like just felt disgusting. Yeah. So basically, I'm feeling disgusting at this point, and we go home, and I am going through withdrawals. I'm having hot and cold flashes. Can't sleep. I'm like puking up still a little bit. Like I just was not good. So I couldn't even take my meds because my throat was so raw from those tubes. We ended up going to my uncle's house so I could sit in the hot tub because we found when we got home that like hot water kind of calmed my hot cold flashes, and it also basically just kind of calmed me down a little bit. And we had to go to my uncle's to get some children's liquid ibuprofen so I could take it to soothe my throat and then basically take my meds, which it did work. We ended up getting our own stuff for ibuprofen, and yeah. Mind you, this was, I told you in the beginning, I told my mom in the beginning that the more invasive, the more traumatic it was going to be for me. She was very persistent in helping me over mentally because she thought that in the right time, the mentally was not going to be as hard to deal with as the physically. Now, come 3 or 4 weeks after the procedure, I was having horrible anxiety. I was having horrible depression. I wouldn't go to school. It was just too hard for me to go to school. I couldn't sleep at night because my anxiety was so bad. All of this crap was going on. So I ended up sending me to St. George a couple times to help my grandparents with their second house. And the last time we went to St. George, I went to stay with my aunt in Arizona. So that kind of helped me calm me down, anxiety stuff, and I kind of got back on track for school because I was failing. Now I'm back from school after that trip, and it was really kind of a cleansing kind of is helping me realize what's more important in life and how to control my anxiety and stuff like that. Just kind of a moment that I could recognize myself. Now that I'm back, but I have had horrible POTS, and we've now been talking because there's no point to me having to suffer scar tissues and just make it harder. And we've decided to put my port back in. Now we have a pump from my aunt from Arizona because she's the aunt who has POTS and used to have her port but got it out and is doing great now. But basically we got a pump for the pump IV fluids that goes through the backpack. We just need tomorrow we have an appointment to get a doctor to sign off on the orders for IV fluids, and then we talked to my surgeon about getting it put back in. Guess what? I'm learning how to access it myself this time. So it'll be on my left side, hopefully, and even if, now today itself, the last time we went to the hospital for IV fluids, or the ER I guess, was last Thursday. Now, it is Monday, so that was a really long time ago, but they weighed me there and I was at 50.1 kilograms. Now today I kind of realized something to see how I need to check my weight because my weight has been fluctuating really badly. I converted it into pounds and I was losing 5 pounds because I was at 10 pounds and previously I'd been at 15 pounds, which to you may not be a drastic change, but to me is a very drastic change because I'm not supposed to lose a lot of weight. Now the good thing with the IV fluids and the port being put back in, we can do TPN and I can just de-access myself and I can go swimming and showering and just not feeling all that annoyance. And give my skin at least a break to kind of relieve itself from like the port and stuff. Just giving my skin just a break to relieve itself from like my skin and port and stuff, whatever. Anyways. Now later today, I was sitting on the couch over here, and I was on TikTok, and I saw this like iron deficiency thing. I'd realized that I hadn't taken my iron supplements in a very, very long time. So number one, we not only found out today that I was losing 5 pounds, but that I have very iron deficiency, and I already have anemia, or I'm already anemic. So basically, I can't keep white blood cell counts or whatever, I guess, with your iron. So I had to Google the symptoms of your iron being low, and basically, if the I just realized that a lot of my symptoms could also be from iron deficiency. So we have come to realizations that were very, very, very annoying. And so we've come to the decision that I have to do iron supplements again and, watch my weight if, So hopefully this is like a good little update. Yeah. In like 15 minutes. That's an update of what's been going on the past 2-3 months. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.